Mr. WNBA Hakeem Prophet has started just where he left off 3 weeks into the WNBA season. He's now 8-4 in total plays while hitting 83% in NBA playoff totals, 10-2. Ski's WNBA season is $269, which is now discounted down to $199. Plus, if you purchase this special before Sunday, you will get the rest of his NBA playoff totals for free. To get Hakeem Prophet's WNBA and his NBA totals through the finals, it would cost you $448. But right now, you can lock in all of these plays for just $199.
All right, guys, welcome in. Time for another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show, playoff style here, powered by WagerTalk.com. And a hell of a weekend in the NBA. Obviously, one closeout, couple other series up in the air. Big turning point tonight in the two games that we've got in store, including the Sixers and Atlanta Game 4. As well as the Utah Jazz and the LA Clippers. Game 4 on tap here, and who better to break these two down than the three amigos, the three very best here at Wager Talk, including Ski Profit, Stevie in the middle, Merrill, and back and cleanup. There he is, Mr. Rob Vino. Gentlemen, welcome in here. Hell of a weekend in the association. Started on Friday night, led into Saturday. Of course, injury news at the top of a lot of headlines, certainly with the Brooklyn Nets. We'll see what happens there. But, Ski, how was your weekend across the board, man? I know you got a lot of WNBA happening right now as well. So what do you got in store for us at $9 Monday here at WagerTalk.com?
Yeah, I've been running pretty hot. NBA playoffs, especially since I locked in on these totals. I think I'm 17-4 now on playoff totals in the NBA. So I look to keep that going. I do have a play up for tonight, and I have 4 baseball plays today. I won, I think, 6 of my last 8 in MLB. So I look to keep that going too.
Yeah, rolling is what he is doing here, guys. Red hot, awesome stuff there. $9 Monday, Steve Merrill. What's going on, man? How was the weekend, and what do you got up at WagerTalk.com today?
Yeah, I lost both of my. Since we last spoke on Saturday, I lost both of my games in baseball Saturday by half a run each. They blown 5-0 run lead in the Tampa game, went 5-4. Had the run and a half, missed an over by half a run. So a lot of near misses, but still on a 62% baseball run on a longer term 29-14 NBA run. And it's $9 Monday. You know, I'd like to do something special on $9 Monday because, damn it, $9 Monday isn't special enough. So I called Ski to get some advice this weekend, and housekeeping answered. So I had to move on. I called Joe Ranieri, and his roommate Gabe Morency answered. So I had to move on. So I didn't want to do it, but I had to once again call Rob Vino, get his wisdom, his advice. And I said, Rob, I can't do a 2-for-1. That's $4.50. He goes, damn it, Steve, do a 3-for-1 special for $9. I go, but Rob, there's 5 games I like today. And he goes, you can't do $2.25. You can't do $1.80 Monday. So I put up 2 free baseball plays today. One on a video here on Wager Talk TV. There we go. One on my page. And then 3 best bets still. One in baseball, both NBA games tonight. So it's $3 Monday. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
See, Ski, do you notice? Do you see what happened here? Merrill has him and his friggin' props have now rubbed off to Rob Vino. Now Rob Vino is bringing props into this. You know it's gone hard left here. Mr. Vino, my friend, welcome back in. Happy Monday to you. How was your weekend, man? And what do you got going on at $9 Monday at Wager Talk?
Listen, it's easier to anticipate what Steve Merrill has going on. $9 Monday. And look, you know, I was looking for my fireplace blower, the ash blower. I was going to bring that just to have Steve lend me a little smoke blower and use that. But instead, I brought dollar bills.
Nice.
Good enough. I know where he's going with his promos. You know, I'll reiterate a lot of what Ski said. The playoff season has been great. Started May 22nd for me. Overall, 63% winners. If I just go to 4% best bets, which have been incredible right now, 73% winners, 16-6. If I go to just straight totals, 10-3, 77% on the totals, 4% best bets. So, hey, NBA playoffs have been great. That's enough, though, of you know, the smoke blowing. We'd rather talk about Steve and his promotions.
Yes, and more props, Rob. Don't keep them coming here. That's exactly what we need on the show. And Ski, he's going to be putting up some Charger stuff any minute here now in anticipation of the football season just around the corner. But we got a couple of games tonight here, guys, that we got to get through. Some pretty darn important games, too, here. Game number 4 will start 7:35 Eastern Time in Atlanta as the Sixers look to take a commanding 3-1 series lead. But the Hawks, they say, slow down here as they opened up as a 3-point underdog at home. And I'm still seeing threes in many of the spots. I'm also seeing 225 and a half seems to be the prevailing number from a total perspective. I believe we got, I'm seeing 1.5 also in the first half. The total hovering around that 115 and a half mark. So, Ski, talk to me here. Atlanta at home had been very profitable throughout the season. What do you think we're going to get here tonight out of these Hawks? They certainly don't want to go down 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, just because you kind of got to win doesn't mean you will win.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm looking at this one more from the total. The Hawks, it's kind of reminds me of that Denver series, Denver versus Suns. And it's just like I hear Nate McMillan saying, whether it's on the sideline, whether it's in the post game, that they got to pick up the tempo. Like, they got to get out and run just because they don't want to keep facing that set Sixers defense because you're not going to have success. He doesn't want to see Trae Young walking the ball up, and on these missed shots, he wants to get out in transition. So if the Hawks have any kind of chance, I think pace is a big part of it, and they're at the house, so I expect them to play fast. I don't think the Sixers mind whether they play fast or not. Joel Embiid, he's going to continue to get whatever he wants. Seems like no matter who they throw at him. So, I'm leaning towards points in this game, and if I had to pick a side, I would pick the Sixers. I just think that the Hawks are a little bit outmatched here, especially without Hunter. And if you don't have anybody to stop the beat, I know that he's still game time decision questionable every single day, but he looks good to me. So I like the Sixers to keep it going, go up 3-1, headed back to Philly, and I like points to be scored in this game.
So it's been a very interesting series thus far here, Steve. Outside of that game 1 first half and maybe, 6 or 7 minutes of the third quarter, it has been all Sixers all day, all night. I mean, it's in many aspects has been pretty much domination. So what do you think we're going to get from the Hawks? Are we going to get more like that team in the first half of game 1 or more of what we've seen after that tonight?
Yeah, the magic number has been 16 for the Sixers, and that's because they were outscored by 20 in the first half of game 1, came back and outscored the Hawks by 16 in the second half of that game, but it fell 4 short, of course. They then won game 2 by 16. They then won game 3 by 16. So the last 10 quarters, they've outscored Atlanta by 48 points after being outscored by 20 in the first 2 quarters. I think 10 quarters a little more indicative of this series overall. And we talked about the Nuggets not having Jamal Murray, how they were kind of on borrowed time when we previewed that series last week. And obviously their time ran out this week and they got swept. But you also kind of wondered if Atlanta was that team that maybe was on borrowed time also. They had that monumental run after Nate McMillan got hired on an interim basis. I mean, the management did not think that was the fix. This team was 14-20 straight up when they hired him on March 1st. And then they quietly went on a 32-15 run since. But, this is still a team that's only a 5 seed, and it looks like Philly's a better team. And I think the fact they did come out so slow in game 1, they haven't overlooked any games. But normally this would, as you said, Joe, be a pretty good bounce-back spot for Atlanta. But like Ski said, it's easier said than done. Just because they need to win doesn't mean they're going to win. And I think it's interesting also to look at the point spread here. Philadelphia -3 for this game. They were 1.5 in what I thought was probably a better spot for them in game 3. I had a strong best bet on them in that game. I almost felt like I was kind of on the contrarian side. That series was 1-1. It's the number 1 seed, yet I felt like I was taking a contrarian view with Philly in that game. I think Philly kind of once again could be a little bit of the contrarian side here as well, even though the line's inflated. I think a lot of people expect Atlanta to bounce back on that strong home court. Just not sure it's that easy. And I would agree with the over. I think over 225 makes sense. It's 225.5 now in a lot of spots. By the way, first half line 1.5, game line 3, so that's back to where it should be. The full total, though, for the game 115 first half, 225. So they're saying the second half should be 5 points lower scoring than the first. I know Rob does a lot with totals and first halves and stuff, so I thought that was interesting.
So, Rob, there is a couple of really interesting angles in this game, but Rob, I don't think it can be overstated the significance of the injury to DeAndre Hunter for this Atlanta team and the defense that he would have brought to this series and to this game. Unfortunately, he's not available, but I don't think it would have made a damn bit of difference when Embiid's averaging 35 points, 10 boards. You got Seth Curry, who thinks he's Steph Curry, just absolutely on fire here. So what do you think we're going to set kind of a last-ditch effort? They got to get one at home. Do they have enough to be able to get it done tonight, Atlanta?
Well, we're going to see, Joe. I believe that, most of these series that we're looking at, guys, where the totals are concerned, they don't really change. With the exception of maybe the two Phoenix series, I think they had a couple unders, a couple overs. But most of these things, once they've developed, the patterns have stayed the same. If it's an under series, it stayed under. If it's an over series, just keep playing over. And it's really worked. And right now, this thing has just developed into an over series, probably for a couple of reasons. I mean, both guys before me hit on a bunch of them. There's no way to stop Joel Embiid for this team. We saw it last game. It really, to me, again, looked like in the interior, it was a bunch of, high school seniors playing seventh grade middle schoolers where size was concerned, because if a shot misses, the second chance always went to Philadelphia. Atlanta was grossly out-rebounded in those particular situations. And stickbacks and fouls, whatever. Philly could have whatever they want inside. Add to that the fact that both of these last two games, they've shot 46% and 47% from three, which is a drastic difference from the first game when they lost. And you have a team that's almost impossible to contain defensively. So Atlanta doesn't have the defensive answers. The only thing that could work in their favor is Philadelphia just goes stone cold and misses everything. I don't foresee that happening here. Nate McMillan has said pick up pace. We heard it from game one when he said take it out of the net and go to Trae Young. So they have to. They won the first game 128-124. It's the style they'd have to play to win again in this series. They have to go that way. I think if we get beyond the DeAndre Hunter injury, because we know exactly what that's produced here, right? Atlanta, as you said, Joe, doesn't have the type of defense they need across the front line without him. But the Danny Green injury to me is somewhat significant too. What it requires is Matisse Thybulle to be on the floor even more. And at first glance, that's a good thing, right? Because Thybulle's a good defender. Trae Young's the guy they're trying to stop. But, the more minutes he plays with his aggressiveness, the more fouls he picks up. And last game, he fouled out in less than 17 minutes. And if you're Doc Rivers, you don't want to take the aggressiveness out of Matisse Thybulle defensively. So now you're going to ask him, what you would really like of him is to play 25, 26 minutes, which he's not used to. And can he last on the floor that long? Or is Ben going to have to, do most of the defensive coverage on Trae Young? And Trae Young found a way. I didn't get the exact number, guys, but he drew a lot of fouls in their last game. He went to the free throw line 8 times, but there were numerous fouls. He found ways to draw fouls on these guys. I think really quick here, where the potential points statistic is concerned, these teams in 3 games have scored better than 50% of the points available in all 3 games. So to think that that's going to stop is crazy, right? They're probably going to do it. They put up 252, 220, and 238 as far as totals are concerned. A couple of quick halftime stats here. Hawks 7-1 against the spread first half. The one loss was the last game. Do they bounce back and play a really good first half? Very possible. And where totals are concerned, 4 of these 6 halves that have been played in this particular series have hit 117 or better. That's higher than what we're looking at tonight. The other 2 were a 112 and a 108. Second half overs 2-1. First half overs 2-1 so far. So I can't blame anybody for playing over in any capacity in this game.
Yeah, keep an eye to Atlanta. 28 turnovers in the last 2 games. That's got to stop if they are going to keep this game close tonight. So that is 7:35 tip, guys. Game 4 between the Sixers and the Hawks. And that leads us, of course, to the nightcap, which we've got another game for. And look at this. Whole lot of color. Oh, look at this. Color coordinate looks like a rainbow. It's a NBA situational betting angle, courtesy of our good friend John Ryan at sportsmemo.com. Where do I even start with this? Let's look at no idea. Bet on home favorites that are outscoring their opponents by at least 6 points per game on the season and are also facing an opponent that scored at least 130 points in their previous game. 18-1 straight up in that case, 13-6 against the spread, 68% over the last 3 seasons. When you put all of this together, we are looking at betting the over and the Clippers minus the points. Ooh, with a little sprinkle on a reverse action parlay. Like it. John Ryan, of course, killing it right now as well. And you can see him over at sportsmemo.com. So, Merrill, let me come to you here because we're looking at it opened up somewhere around 4, 4.5. It's been obviously 5s in a number of spots. It's been bouncing back and forth between 4.5 and 5 here in the marketplace with the total honing right in at that 223.5. Not a whole lot of movement. And there's a 224 2 out there as well. So not a lot of movement on the total, but certainly the market thinks the Clippers, after what they've seen in game 3, I don't know. Do you think we're going to see the same exact type of situation here in game 4? Clippers looking to tie this series up tonight. Do they get it done?
Well, first thing that jumps out to me is that this line is technically a little bit higher than game 3, in which the Clippers, I think most people would say, were in a much better, spot as far as motivation. And we know how important motivation is when handicapping the LA Clippers. It's basically the be-all, end-all with this team. They're down, to Dallas in the first series, come back and win that one, including the last 2 games down 3-2 late in that one. Really looked like it was over at the beginning of game 3 when Dallas blew the 30-11 lead. Same thing here. They're down 0-2. They come out of this one, though, and from the start just throttled the Utah Jazz. And I guess that's why the line's a little bit higher, because keep in mind, it was 4.5, 5 on game 3. This is now a solid 5. So it's theoretically a little bit higher than game 3, even though they're off the big win. And I guess it's because the public is always hesitant to back these teams off blowout losses. Conley's still not healthy, although I think that's a little bit of an overrated injury. Once again, though, the first half line is correct now. It was 4. The game was 5 on game 3 on Friday. The first half line was 4, or Saturday rather. Now it's 2.5 with 5. But what's interesting is I talked about the Atlanta-Philly first half total was 115 versus 110. This first half total is 110. The second half line is 114. So it's the exact opposite with the over-under in this one. And, once again, it's just fascinating to me how they do this. If anything, this game should be more, it's a 5. The other game's a 3. There should be less fouling in this game down the stretch because the Clippers should theoretically have a bigger lead. So anyway, I'm not a huge first half player, and this is just one of those crazy things that jumped out to me. But it does look like a little bit of an inflated line and an overreaction to the Jazz, who won the first 2 games, getting blown out in game 3. We'll see what happens here. Hard to trust the Clippers. I know they're still down 1-2, so maybe that makes them focus. But it almost seems like LA doesn't show up until they're down to elimination games nowadays.
Robbie's got a point. It does feel a little rich here, does it not? Especially since the Clippers are only 2-3 at home in the playoffs this year. It's not like they have some sort of crazy Staples Center advantage and a home court advantage here. And what'd you have? Batum, Reggie Jackson, and Paul George went 15 or 22 from beyond the arc. I mean, are we likely to see that again here in game 4?
Yeah, that's the question, Joe. I mean, I don't doubt that they'll play good offense. But the offense that they played was extraordinary, right? They made 50 shots from the field, shot 56% for the game. I mean, to duplicate that, is pretty tough in my estimation. They could still shoot over 50%. And again, this is another one of those series, right? There's a trend where the total is concerned, where the points scored in these games is developing. Potential points, last 2 games, 52% of the points that were available or better have been scored in the last 2 games. And believe me, if the first game didn't have Utah missing 20 straight field goal attempts, probably would have been the same. They got the 221 with that, even with missing 20 straight shots. So, I'm looking at 110 first half. And again, 110 just looks too small. We're staring at 108.5 last night in the Phoenix Denver game, and these 109s and 109. And with all the reactions or overreactions that Steve just laid out there, how these lines have changed, the one constant is these Western Conference semifinal first halves have remained the same and keep getting beaten, right? I think they're 2-1 over 110 first half in this series. They're good in the second half as well. For Los Angeles, and Marcus Morris Sr. has been absolutely invisible. If I wanted to bet Utah in this game, I would probably run right back and bet Marcus Morris Sr. 3-point props, because when I take a Clipper and I bet their props, they suck. Marcus Morris Sr. is now 1 for 16 from 3-point land in this series. He's a zero contribution to this offense. If not for Reggie Jackson, really, he's the only steady guy as far as reserves go in this 3-game series. So, can Kawhi and Paul George do it all again, carry it on their shoulders if some of these guys go silent? I'm not sure. I think Donovan Mitchell and the Utah defense will play better than giving up 132. That doesn't mean they can't give up 118. Again, the total just seems way too low first half here to me at 110. 56-55 first half in this series is what you're asking for. I think you probably get it again.
Yeah. It's interesting here, Ski. Bogdanovich, who I think it was 2 of 10 in the game as well. I just feel like the ceiling for Utah is greater than what we may get from the Clippers here. 5 seems like a lot in this spot. What do you think?
Well, this is just off the top of my head, but I feel like the Clippers, like when it's close games, I feel like they lose those games more times than they win. And I think when they win, they usually win by margin. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just my feel about the Clippers. So if you like the Clippers side, I wouldn't be scared of the 5 points. And myself, I'll look more towards the total in this game. That's where I've been finding my success. I did also want to mention, though, Rob talking about props, that Reggie Jackson one, that one stands out to me. I think his 3-point total was 2.5. He's hit 3 or more his last 9 games. So if I was playing one prop in this one, that would be the guy I go for. But the total, Rob touched on it. I don't got to break down that game one again because he mentioned it, how poor they played. I'll mention, though, that they had 6 fast break points and they got to 221, even with the rest for Utah, them coming out and missing like 20 shots in a row. Since then, we've seen them shoot better every single game. They continue to put a high volume of threes because that's who Utah is. They live and die by the 3. Whether they're making them or not, they're not going to stop shooting. We've heard Quinn Snyder come out and say that in the post-game interview, I think after game 1. And so the Clippers, if they're not shooting threes or making threes, it's going to be a big differential. Like they're going to fall too far behind. So you see them jacking up threes, and they're a great 3-point shooting team this year. We've had at least two 60-point quarters in every game so far this season. I mean, not this season, this series. And I don't see why it stops here. And I'll be willing to bet that one of them comes in the first half. So with the number that short, like Rob mentioned at 110, I mean, all you got to get is a little bit more than 50, 51 points in the first quarter. And then second quarter, you get that 60-point quarter and you're up and over. So I think we're going to get plenty of 3-point attempts. When they're not shooting the threes, they're getting to the foul line. So I just see too many ways for points to be scored here. I'm not mad at the full game. I just like the short number on the first half and points, way I look in this game.
All right, points it is. Couple of interesting numbers for this playoffs, guys. Short favorites, -5 or less. Now 25-12 against the number in the playoffs. And when we're looking at a total of 220 or more, the over is hit 25-15 in these playoffs here. So both of those trends seem to fit into what we've got with this Clippers taking on Utah game for tonight. And do want to remind you guys, before we take a look at the best bets from all 3 of these gentlemen, their best bets right now up, locked, and loaded at WagerTalk.com for $9 Monday, which means go get them there. You've got Steve Merrill doing all sorts of math, and you're cutting it down. It's like $1. It's just Rob's throwing money at Steve. So Rob's got his own math that he's doing, and of course, Ski's up there going, listen, I'm locked and loaded. Let's cash some tickets here. So head over to Wager Talk, go to Ski's page, go to Merrill's page, go to Vino's page, $9. Go get their best bets tonight. No reason not to make it a profitable Monday. So, Ski, I'm going to come to you, man. You're going to lead us point here on the way out. Talk to us. A lot of different ways to approach these 2 games. What's the top one for you tonight?
Well, I'm going to just, dang, I get the brick right off the back. I didn't even say 2 words yet. But I'm gonna mention really quick again that I've been seeing NBA totals really clear, so that's where I'm gonna try to stay. Hit 17 to 21. So I'm not mad if you like the full game. I mean, in this series, the average is 229. Average for the first half is 113. But I just look at the season long, man. For both teams, between the Clippers and Utah, on a season they average about 116 points in the first half per game. And I gave you 1,000 reasons why. I really don't have to list them all off again. But first half over 110. I'll leave the extra time for Steve's props or whatever things he's got going.
Oh, don't encourage him. Oh, damn it, don't encourage him. But yes, appreciate that, Ski. Merrill, I'm almost afraid to send it your way, but we're going to send it your way anyway. So once again, 60 seconds on the clock. Talk to us here, Merrill. What's your best bet here tonight?
Yeah, first of all, Joe Ranieri, never be afraid of me, my man. Never be afraid of me. And I think Robert was doing Ski a favor there. He felt that Ski was left out of the whole prop conversation, so he gave it to him off the bat there. Some basketballs from the sky flying down on him. And I'll tell you what, I'll have a prop here at the end of this segment. It's a visual prop and not a game prop, because I'm not going to use a game prop like I've been doing. I do have best bets on both NBA games tonight. It's part of the incredible $3 Monday special that I have right now at WagerTalk.com. 3-for-1 package, both NBA games and an MLB steamroller blowout, a run line that's plus money on the money line part of it. So 3-for-1 special, $9 for all three, $3 Monday, Rob Vino approved. But I'm going to look at the total. I've got sides in the NBA games. Let's look at the total in the Atlanta game, over 225.5. I don't see the pace slowing down here. If they cannot stop Philly, Atlanta's only chance of winning this game is to outscore Philly. It'll be another high-scoring game. We've seen it so far, 220. What was it, 239 and 252. In my last 3 seconds, the Nuggets-Phoenix fight in the stands the other night. I'm going to for those that missed it.
Oh, good God. Oh, look at Thunder and Dan throwing bombs up there. Very nice. Very, very nice there, Merrill. Appreciate that. I don't know if your actual hands are considered a prop, but that's a conversation for another day. Rob Vino, talk to us here, my man. Don't even. Rob, talk to us here. 60 seconds, my friend. Talk to us. Where are you going tonight?
I love the way Steve covers up to avoid damage to his face. That was nice. Custom auto stuff right there. Listen, I would absolutely second everything Ski said about the first half in Utah. I mean, I mentioned a zillion reasons why as well. They've shot 83s on average combined in each game of that series. So, I mean, they're going to shoot the basketball. They're probably going to score their points. Steve had Philly Atlanta total. Don't disagree there either. So I'll go to the first half of the Philadelphia Atlanta game, where I'll play the Hawks. Again, 7-1 against the spread first half. Last game they did get beat. But the Philadelphia bench played extremely well now. It's played extremely well now. If you take the fourth quarter of game 2, the first half of game 3, they played 3 good, really good quarters. That might drop off here. And if it does, Atlanta should take advantage. I expect them to be faster to try and outscore Philly. So give me Atlanta first half minus the points in that game.
Get it done, Atlanta. Get it done. First half there for Rob Vino. All right, it could be it's 2 pivotal games here. What's going to happen here tonight? I can tell you this. The opportunity to make it a profitable evening starts with you guys heading over to WagerTalk.com. But let's recap these best bets here. Get you guys caught up. If you're just joining us, Ski profit, props and all, going Jazz Clippers first half over 110. And if I'm quoting, he ain't mad at the full game either, but he thinks it's a little low there in the first half with 110. Merrill says points just going to keep coming here. There's no way Hawks can win without outscoring, which is really some deep shit right there, Merrill, that Atlanta's got to outscore Philadelphia.
I was running short on time.
That really was fantastic right there. 225.5 going over there. Rob Vino says, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Hawks first half plus 1.5 and damn profitable. And our good friend John Ryan thinks the over in the Jazz Clippers, as well as the Clippers laying 5, is certainly the way to look here tonight. And guys, the way you want to look at WagerTalk.com, because it's $9 Monday. This is the perfect time for you guys to hop on board. Head over to Ski. Head over to Merrill. He's got, a whole lot of plays, something to do with 3 or 4. I have no idea, but they're there. And they're no more than $9. You can't go wrong with that, as well as Rob Vino. ready to go. Just head over to WagerTalk.com and visit these gentlemen's pages. Also, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Get notified every time we go live here on Wager Talk TV. More importantly, come back and join us again tomorrow. We do the whole breakdown again, getting you ready for more profitable days. Tomorrow being Tuesday. In the meantime, guys, best of luck with your plays here tonight. Make sure you come back and join us again tomorrow. We'll talk to you then.